Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to day 17 of the 30 Days Immigration Question and Answer series. My name is Wolo. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant based in New Brunswick. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. To my loyal followers, thank you so much for staying with me on this channel. So today's video is about three things. Number one is flagpoling. Number two is amending the legislation to cancel visa documents. And then number three is removing the 50 points for LMIA. I would play the video where the Minister for Immigration was speaking about this update, and after the video I will give you my own opinion.
Canada is and everyone knows this here, is a top destination for people seeking to build a better life or to visit. And Canadians expect us to uphold our humanitarian tradition, but also offer the security to those who desperately need it. At the same time, they expect our asylum system to be one that is efficient and well managed and shielded against fraud. They also expect migration from our side of the border, frankly both sides of the border, to be safe and orderly, and in order to strengthen the mutual security with our neighbours to the south. I'm announcing a number of measures today, but let's start off from where we are currently. We invested in Budget 2024 a little over $700 million in over 5 years, $159 million of which was financing for permanent stability, integrity measures for the asylum system. C'est des mesures qui ont été immensément importantes, justement pour stabiliser le système d'asile au Canada qui en avait besoin. After we extended the Safe Third Country Agreement to our entire border, including internal waterways, asylum claims made by people crossing illegally dropped from about 165 per day in March last year to about 12 per day since then. After we introduced a partial visa requirement for Mexicans and Mexican nationals in February to address the high volume of asylum claims, many of which were refused, abandoned, or withdrawn, we've seen a staggering drop of about 97% in claims made by Mexican citizens in Canada compared to 2023. And overall, asylum claims from Mexico have dropped by 92%. When we learned of increased exploitation of our visitor visas, which affect our shared border with the U.S., people finding a way to get into Canada. The reverse has happened in the U.S. to us as well, with the Roxham Road experience as recent history. We took action. And as a result, illegal crossings into the U.S. by Canadian visa holders have dropped by 84% since June. Important to this is the refusal rate as part of the integrity measures that we put into place, which is about 61% for countries that we've noticed the highest level of abuse. This morning we saw the latest stats from Statistics Canada, which shows the slowest growth in our population since the first quarter of 2023. Again, these measures have made a real measurable difference. As Minister LeBlanc mentioned, IRCC will be working with our counterparts in the U.S. to share information that we can improve security and further reduce the risks that individuals with a criminal past can enter Canada. That includes more thorough vetting of electronic travel authorizations, for example. Beyond these efforts, we're proposing new measures to strengthen the integrity of the immigration system. The first is to put an end to an irritant with the U.S., which is a practice known as flagpoling, people that leave Canada with no intention to go back, no intention to spend any time in the U.S., but then immediately go back in to get quicker processing at the border, where they would have to wait in Canada. Flagpoling uses up valuable resources on both sides of the border, slows border traffic, and prevents officers on both sides of the border from focusing on more critical tasks. When this change comes into effect, temporary residents already in Canada will have to apply online to extend their stay, and flagpoling will no longer be an option. We're proposing to give Canada more control over its immigration documents as well, so we respond to exceptional events in ways that protect Canada and our public resources. So we'll be introducing legislative amendments that will allow us to change, suspend, or cancel immigration documents, including visas, as well as to suspend or cancel applications in our inventory when it's deemed to be in the public interest, for example, in cases of mass fraud. In addition, we'll be introducing measures to streamline the asylum system to deal quickly with illegitimate claims. This will align us, in a sense, with measures that the U.S. already has within its own jurisdiction. Finally, of interest to this, and people that follow this issue, we're implementing further measures that will reinforce program integrity and reduce potential LMIA fraud, such as removing additional points that candidates receive under express entry for having a job offer, This measure is expected to remove the incentive for candidates to purchase an LMIA, resulting in increased fairness and integrity in the access entry system and taking some of the value of the fraud already being perpetrated in the LMIA system. To anyone considering entering Canada illegally, as we head into the coldest months of the winter, we want to make it clear that trying to cross Canada between our official ports of entry is dangerous, and it will, in almost cases, render any subsequent asylum claim unsuccessful.
So I'll give my opinion about the latest updates. And for those who don't know what flagpoling is a situation where somebody comes with a visiting visa but goes to the US-Canada border and then tries to enter the US and then come back to the Canadian border to get maybe their work permit. That is if they have a job offer, or let's say they are a spouse of a student or a spouse of a worker, but they want to quickly get their work permit. Instead of applying online, they just go and flagpole at the US border, come back into Canada, and then they are able to get their work permit issued to them at the border. So this flagpoling, they want to cancel it. They want to put an end to it and make sure that everybody applies for their visas online, so there will be no more flagpoling. And I feel that this update is as a result of Trump coming into power. You know, Trump has been making a lot of noise about Canada, even going to the extent of calling Canada the 51st state, you know, calling Prime Minister Trudeau Governor Trudeau. It doesn't make any sense, but I feel that the cancellation of the flagpoling is as a result of Trump coming into power and wanting to tighten the borders from the Canadian side. You know, he has been making a lot of noise about porous borders from the Canadian side and the Mexican side. So Canada is making efforts to tighten its borders, and then they are now putting an end to flagpoling. So it means that going forward, by the time they make the announcement, people will no longer flagpole to get their work permit or to get their study permits. That is number one. Then number two is the issue of cancelling visas. So apparently they are now evaluating the visiting visa process such that if they feel anybody that they have issued a visa to will not adhere to the visa rules, maybe the person would want to claim asylum, they have the authority to cancel visas. But for them to do that, they have to amend the legislation around it. So once they amended the legislation around it, they will now have the authority to start cancelling visas that they have issued. Even if the person have come into Canada before, they have the authority to say, okay, no, we don't want you to come into Canada anymore. Okay, so that's number two. And then number three, the issue of LMIA. For those who don't know, if you get a job offer and the job offer was gotten through LMIA, you get 50 points. With that 50 points is added to express entry. And there has been a lot of fraud around LMIA and people getting 50 points so that they can, you know, get an invitation to apply when there is a draw. So with this issue of fraud with LMIA, they are now cancelling that 50 points. So people who have gotten a job offer with LMIA, they can no longer claim an extra 50 points in their express entry profile. So that's a summary of the update. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.
Canada, oh Canada, oh Canada.